Afghanistan's been in the news lately, so I feel I should make at least one video about it, about the violence. What religious people don't seem to understand is that as soon as you use violence or force to try and change people to behave in a certain way, it becomes meaningless. Because as soon as that force is removed, the person will go back to doing what they like to do. And it's interesting that these people who are so violent and so determined to make people behave in a certain way because they say that's what their religion tells them to do, to behave like, that they don't see their violence as being wrong. And the terrible tortures that they carry out in the name of their religion, or more to the point, in the name of their God. If you are really evil and you do terrible things, violence, especially the violence to push your religion forward, and God doesn't agree, He's not going to do anything. Because to do anything would mean to force you. And to force you to stop the violence would mean He hasn't changed your heart. Your heart is still violent. Your hatred is still in your head. It's not going to change just because God forced you to do it, to stop. No. Unfortunately, He realizes that He just has to stand back and allow you to do these things, to experience the hatred. And then in your future lives, of course, karma will step in and make sure that you are on the other side of the fence. You are the one who's going to suffer. That's what hell's all about. It all comes back on you. When you do violence, you're basically digging your own grave deeper and deeper and deeper. And those people who are pushing their religion with violence, they possibly will have 100, 200,000 years as other creatures before they ever get a chance to be a human again. You really got to realize, as a human, it is a great, great gift, the greatest gift of all. So try not to cause any harm or damage to anything or anyone or any other animal. Just live with the earth. Otherwise, you're going to get more and more karma, which will come back on you at death. If you think about it, they are talking about God who made the earth and made all life upon the earth. If He wanted to, this God, He could make everyone do as He wants them to do. Well, they could do no wrong. After all, a God that can make a universe and the world and all the life forms upon it can do anything He wants. Omnipotent. No. The moment you force someone to do something and you know that they don't want to do that, you've accomplished nothing. You've accomplished the lie. You're saying this person is this way now, but it's not true. But let's say you do force everyone to behave in a certain way, and eventually the next generation comes along and they've been brought up in that way, so they behave a certain way as well. And they might even get to believe that certain way is the right way. You still haven't changed them. All you've done is brainwash those people from birth. They aren't truly good people or truly following what you're saying. They haven't got a choice. They've been brainwashed. No, if you really want to get the right people to follow your religion, there has to be total freedom. You have to say, this is our religion, this is what we believe in. Do you want to come and follow us? Many will say no. You'll find if they get the choice of freedom like we have in the West, compared to what the religions are offering in North Africa and places, you'll find most people will want the West. Why not? This is a proven fact that we are alive now. Why not enjoy it now instead of believing in promises which probably won't come true at the end? You know, that's the thing about religions. You can promise people everything. Everything, because you don't have to prove anything to them. And you say they're going to get it at death. Well, once they're dead, they never complain, do they? That's a good thing about being an undertaker. The customers never complain. Your God, he wants you to win their hearts over, because anything else is meaningless. And you can't win their hearts over with force. You can make an offer and say, look, this is how we are, and let them choose. You have to bring reason to bear. You have to realize that you're never going to succeed with violence. And please don't look upon God's punishment as a punishment. It's not. It's justice. It's the same as when we have the vivisection, the slaughterhouses, the factory farming. We don't feel that we're punishing those creatures, do we? We just don't care. And the same will happen with you. When you die, you will be born as those creatures to suffer at the hands of humans. But it's not a punishment exactly. It's a justice. You say that anyone who doesn't follow your religion to the book will go to hell. They will suffer terrible things for the rest of eternity. And yet time and time again I hear on the news that you are preempting God's punishment. You can't do that. You have to allow God to do the punishment when they die naturally, without your help. You cannot preempt God's punishment. It would be like me taking the law into my hands and killing a person I don't like. I would be held responsible for that death. But the law was going to hang them anyway because of what they did. And the same with you. You cannot preempt God's punishment. You have to allow them to live their lives and learn from whatever they're doing. And then when they die, they will be punished and sent to hell at that point by God, not by you. Don't think you can fool God into thinking that you're doing his work. He knows what's in your heart, and it's not peace. Do you really think that a heaven, a paradise, is made on the bodies of corpses by men of violence? Do you think there's guns in heaven, in paradise? Of course there's not. It's going to be peace in paradise. But how can men who have lived their whole lives in violence ever be peaceful in paradise? I say it can't be done. It's part of you. It's become part of your nature. You've become too good at what you're doing. And if you really believe there is a God who made this earth, how can you destroy the earth, what he has made, with your bombs, with your destruction in war and battle? I'm not even religious, and yet I appreciate this world so much. I try to cause as little destruction to the world as possible. I live with the world, not against it. I think I'm more religious than anyone else, even though I'm not religious, because I follow reason and I follow empathy. These are the most important things. Without them, you are nothing. And you can forget about going to your paradise unless you have those two things. And a respect for God Because to respect the earth, you respect your God as well. And to do the opposite, you insult your God. In the Afghanistan war, people might question me about my opinions on those who fought against the extremist. Well, let me put that over to you and say, how do you feel about it? One side is trying to give freedom to the people. The other side is trying to take freedom away. So how do you think a God will see that? Any God? This may surprise you, but I do keep a copy of the Quran. This is my own. I have read it. I do find it shocking, the violence within the pages of this book. And also I keep it to protect me from the followers of the Quran. In fact, it's so big I find it difficult to carry around, so I'm thinking of trying to get a smaller one which I can fit in my pocket. I'm sure it's possible. I'm going to have to go and get one from the mosque in London.